Trump urges ceasefire in Ukraine. Declines Zelensky's request for Tomahawk missiles. President Donald Trump met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy at the White House on October 17, 2025, urging both sides to halt fighting along current front lines and stop where they are. Trump described his proposal as a practical step toward ending hostilities, saying, "Enough blood has been shed." Zelenskyy agreed on the need for a ceasefire but reiterated Ukraine's request for long-range Tomahawk missiles to strengthen its defense. The United States did not commit to providing the weapons, with officials cautioning that such a move could escalate the conflict and undermine ongoing diplomatic efforts. The meeting followed a phone call between Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin earlier in the week. Analysts say the encounter marks a notable policy shift from earlier U.S. positions that prioritized military aid over diplomacy. Trump and Putin are expected to meet in Budapest in the coming weeks to discuss a potential peace framework, though Zelenskyy is not expected to participate directly.
Trump always chickens out.
That sounds like a gift to Putin, and a delay for a later war.
Didn't Mango Mussolini just say, 2 weeks ago, that Ukraine should have all of Ukraine back, even Crimea? After a 2-hour secret talk with Putin, Trump comes up with Ukraine gives up everything and Russia wins.
Whenever he speaks with Putin, it turns to crap.
Trump never had any intention of sending Tomahawks to Ukraine. All gibberish. The Russians' media is gloating. Putin's best weapon against Ukraine is Trump, unfortunately.
China halts U.S. soybean purchases. Farmers face financial strain. American soybean farmers are facing renewed financial pressure after China effectively halted purchases of U.S. soybeans in May, a move widely seen as retaliation for new American tariffs on Chinese goods. Official trade data show Chinese imports have dropped from more than $10 billion annually to only a few $1,000s in recent months, leaving large inventories unsold across Midwestern states such as Iowa. Farmers warn that continued stagnation could push losses above $1 per bushel if prices fail to recover. In response, the Trump administration expanded the market facilitation program, pledging up to $12 billion in direct aid to offset losses. Many producers, however, insist they prefer open trade to government subsidies. Iowa State Auditor Rob Sand criticized the administration's proposed assistance to Argentina, reportedly valued at around $20 billion, arguing it undermines the U.S. soybean market by supporting a major competitor. Economists note that American consumers have absorbed much of the tariff cost through higher prices, while agricultural states like Iowa experience slower growth. Despite government relief efforts, uncertainty over export markets and prolonged trade tensions continue to cloud the outlook for U.S. farmers.
He sounds rational and intelligent. I assume the same Iowa voters who love Trump will hate him.
The majority of farmers voted for this. Suck it up, Buttercup, and put those red hats back on.
Come on, people, be patient. You can't expect him to destroy the country in just 9 months. It may take 10 or 11 months.
Make Argentina great again, MAGA.
Maybe Iowa will wake up and stop voting for Trump and his MAGA goons, but I doubt it. Reap what you sow.
Yes, Mr. Farmer, this is exactly what you voted for. It's all Trump, make him own it.
Once prices go up, even when the tariffs go away, the prices do not go down. Farmers, are you better off now than you were 8 months ago?
China is way smarter than Trump will ever be. Trump will wreck American and blame it on Obama.
George Santos released from prison after Trump commutes sentence. Former Representative George Santos was released from federal prison on October 17, 2025, after President Donald Trump commuted his 87-month sentence for wire fraud and aggravated identity theft. Santos, who began serving his sentence in July at a facility in Fairton, New Jersey, had served fewer than 3 months before his release. His conviction remains on record despite the commutation. At his April 2025 sentencing, Santos was ordered to pay approximately $373,750 in restitution and forfeit about $205,000, amounts now waived under the presidential order. His attorney, Joseph Murray, confirmed that family members picked him up upon his release. President Trump announced the commutation on social media, calling Santos horribly mistreated, and saying he had been targeted for political reasons. The decision has drawn immediate scrutiny as another high-profile act of clemency by President Trump, raising questions about his use of executive power to aid political allies.
Absolute insanity, completely guilty, what in the world? You think blue-collar people would get that break? I had pot 10 years ago and it ruined my life. F these politicians.
So much for the rule of law in the USA.
Unfucking real. Keep telling us how bad a crime problem America has, while simultaneously letting criminals go free, Donald.
Is this what draining the swamp looks like? The corrupt helping the corrupt.
Justice system in the United States is a joke.
Literally one of the most corrupt politicians, convicted of stealing and defrauding the identities of voters. Admitted to literally all of it. 7 years was a gift. And Trump lets him out because, in Trump's own words, he always votes Republican. Corruption miles fucking high.
Millions protest across U.S. in No Kings demonstrations. Millions of Americans took to the streets on Saturday, October 18, 2025, in the nationwide No Kings protests, with organizers from Indivisible and a coalition of over 200 progressive groups reporting more than 2,600 events in all 50 states. The demonstrations called out what protesters describe as growing authoritarianism and targeted immigration enforcement, healthcare policy changes, and perceived threats to democratic norms. Prominent Democrats, including Senators Bernie Sanders and Chris Murphy and Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, joined rallies or voiced public support, while Republican leaders like House Speaker Mike Johnson dismissed the movement as Hate America rallies tied to Antifa and pro-Hamas elements. Texas Governor Greg Abbott activated the Texas Department of Public Safety and placed National Guard units on standby in Austin ahead of the protests, though Mayor Kirk Watson clarified the Guard would only deploy if emergency conditions materialized. Organizers stressed the peaceful nature of events, which unfolded amid a federal government shutdown, and emphasized that no one in America should act like a monarch.
So if you believe in the Constitution and don't like fascism, what you fought WW2 against, makes you hate America? The worst, most disgusting gaslighting ever.
They want us to be violent. Don't take the bait.
No kings, no KKK, no fascist, USA.
The I Hate America rally happened on January 6, 2021. Tomorrow is the I Love America rally.
Term limits for Congress. Republicans are equating hating Trump with hating America. Meanwhile, Trump is ruining the country.
The enemy from within is the Trump regime.
These evil politicians are praying for someone to become violent. They are so evil, that it is entirely possible that they will incite violence. The French Revolution started much smaller than this.
Let's not get this twisted. The Hate America rally was on January 6th.
U.S. escalates Caribbean anti-drug campaign. Venezuela seeks UN probe. The United States has stepped up its anti-drug campaign in the Caribbean and off Venezuela's coast, with President Donald Trump confirming he authorized covert CIA operations inside Venezuela. Since early September, the U.S. military has carried out at least 6 strikes on vessels believed to be smuggling narcotics, resulting in at least 27 deaths and marking a notable escalation in Washington's regional posture. Venezuela's UN ambassador Samuel Moncada formally requested a United Nations Security Council investigation, accusing the U.S. of extrajudicial executions and attempts to destabilize President Nicolas Maduro's government. Trump justified the actions under Article 51 of the UN Charter, arguing self-defense against drug flows and illicit migration. U.S. officials, however, privately acknowledged the operation, begun in April 2020, also seeks to exert pressure on Maduro's hold on power. Caracas denies the allegations and says the strikes violate its sovereignty. Meanwhile, detainees from the strikes have been held aboard a U.S. Navy ship, further raising questions about legality and oversight.
So America has a right to attack a country it feels a threat to his security, but Russia can't.
Pirates and drug runners have the same rights in international waters, which is zero.
United Nothings, people have been calling them that for over 50 years. They are powerless.
No matter who's the USA leader, their policies are the same.
We don't give a hit what the UN thinks.
Hey UN, while you are at it, tell everyone who really won the Venezuelan elections, talking about illegal.
According to America, if you have oil, it means you need freedom.
The US wants to steal the oil and mineral wealth of Venezuela and other states, a normal US scam. America, stop interfering with Venezuela's primary source of income.
Reason for all this: Venezuela has large reserves of oil in the world.
India rejects Trump claim on halting Russian oil purchases amid trade talks. India's Ministry of External Affairs responded on October 16, 2025, to President Donald Trump's claim that Prime Minister Narendra Modi assured him India would soon stop buying Russian oil. The ministry reiterated that India's energy policy is guided by national interest, not external pressure, and emphasized diversification of sources. In Washington for bilateral trade talks, Trade Secretary Rajesh Agarwal said India is ready to boost U.S. crude and gas purchases if they meet competitive pricing for domestic refiners. Trump's remarks were made amid mounting U.S. pressure on India to reduce its dependence on discounted Russian crude, which the U.S. says funds Moscow's war in Ukraine. Analysts note that although some data suggest Indian state-owned refiners may have cut Russian oil intake by nearly 45% between June and September, overall imports remain relatively stable and Russia is still estimated to supply about 1/3 of India's oil as of September 2025. The divergence in statements underscores New Delhi's insistence on strategic autonomy in energy policy even as cooperation with the U.S. deepens.
Crooked Trump is a big fat liar. No one in the world trusts him, including the majority of Americans. He is losing his credibility, reliability, and trust rapidly in the whole world.
This won't make oil or gas prices cheaper for Americans.
Modi reported to me. Does Taco Trump thinks Modi is his employee?
Modi reported to you. Did this silly man has lost his sense? Which world is he living?
US can never be trusted. India should not allow US produce into India, and definitely not as shale oil.
India will buy its resources from wherever it wants as per market conditions, which will be a favorable deal for the Indian consumers. It's not looking for others' validation or dictation with regards to trade and business. It's a country of traders and businesses. It's not looking for advice from glorified delusional raiders. India gave a spineless, cowardly answer to the clown in White House. Shame on India. Importing oil from the USA is still okay, but never give access to the USA to our agriculture sector.
India should buy oil only from Russia, not America, as they are supporters of Indian enemies, not a trustworthy, especially under Trump administration.
Mahfud MD criticizes KPK over Whoosh rail project budget allegations. Former Coordinating Minister Mahfud MD on Friday criticized the Corruption Eradication Commission, KPK, for what he described as inaction over alleged irregularities in the Jakarta-Bandung high-speed rail project, known as Whoosh. Speaking at Paramadina University in Jakarta and later on his YouTube channel, Mahfud urged the KPK to launch an immediate investigation instead of waiting for a formal complaint. He cited findings by economists and policy analysts suggesting inflated project costs and weak financial oversight. KPK spokesperson Budi Prasetyo responded that anyone with credible data should file an official report, a position Mahfud dismissed as overly bureaucratic. Mahfud also recalled that the government shifted cooperation from Japan to China during the project's early planning phase, stressing the need for greater transparency. The high-speed rail, which now carries an estimated debt burden of around Rp 116 trillion, about 7.2 billion United States dollars, continues to face public scrutiny over cost overruns and questions about its long-term economic sustainability.
If the KPK waits for reports, how do you want to catch corruptors?
Professor Mahfud is right. It is the KPK that has the responsibility to deal directly with corruption cases. Just investigate, find the data, find the sources. If you can't resign independently, be more honorable and wise. Providing clear information about the case being faced by the state. The problem is the information Sierra make detailed report data? What is the KPK doing? Pia Centazon the last 10 years of rampant corruption.
I am sure KPK will not dare to investigate the alleged mark submitted by Mr. Mahfud.
KPK is paid with public money, let's work. Don't be lazy.
Mahfud is right. The KPK should have investigated as soon as they saw that there were rumors of corruption in the fast train.
The KPK receives a large salary, but doesn't want to work, just wants to receive reports. How nice you are, Preet.
KPK is strange. Everyone knows who KPK is.
If there is no report, it means that no action will be taken. Isn't the KPK often conducting odds? It should be followed up immediately, especially since the alleged markup is extraordinary.
This corruption project, for the sake of fee commitments, common sense is eliminated. KPK should be proactive.
Indonesia plans $9 billion purchase of 42 Chinese J-10 fighter jets. Indonesia plans to acquire at least 42 Chinese-made Chengdu J-10C fighter jets in a deal worth around US $9 billion, defense officials announced mid-October 2025. Defense Minister Shafari Shamsuddin said Wednesday the jets will be flying over Jakarta soon, while Finance Minister Purbaya Yudi Sadewa confirmed his ministry has approved funding. The precise timeline for delivery and contract details are still under review. The acquisition forms part of Indonesia's broader military modernization drive, which also includes French Dassault Rafale and Turkish Khan fighters. Analysts say the move signals Jakarta's intent to diversify its defense supply beyond traditional Western vendors. While the J-10C is marketed as a 4.5 generation multi-role aircraft, Indonesia's Air Force must still verify system compatibility, maintenance support, and final numbers. Regional observers caution the deal may reshape Southeast Asia's air power dynamics amid rising geopolitical tensions.
The J-10 has proven superior in the modern world. Indonesia truly lost out by cooperating with South Korea instead.
1 AWACS package, sir, so we're not flying blind.
J-10 can fight Western and European jets without embargo sanctions.
Better to buy those things to defend the nation than let the money be stolen through corruption.
Many people do not understand that Indonesia has GSO and EEZ, which are contested by ASEAN countries, Australia and the USA. That's why Indonesia defends the territory of NKRI. Better to spend the money on defense equipment to protect the country than let it be lost to corruption. No need for endless criticism.
The point is, if we do this, other countries will no longer look down on us.
Put them all in the hangar, the advanced jets for senior pilots, the standard ones for training new ones. Buying aircraft from BRICS partners keeps things fair and balanced.
Haha, the defense and football mafia are ruining Indonesia. How come people don't realize it? There are so many traitors around.
The Qatar case is a reminder that American defense systems worth billions of dollars become worthless scrap if the opponent happens to be a U.S. ally, especially Israel.
German Chancellor reignites migration debate. Party faces AfD strategy questions. Chancellor Friedrich Merz reignited Germany's migration debate at an event in Potsdam, describing migration as a continuing problem and calling for stronger deportations. Citing government figures, he said asylum applications in August 2025 were down about 60% from August 2024. And authorities carried out more than 11,800 forced returns in the first half of 2025. Greens and left lawmakers condemned his remarks as discriminatory and demanded an apology. Government spokesperson Stefan Cornelius said Merz advocates regulated, fair immigration rather than exclusion. Separately, former CDU Secretary General Peter Tauber argued in a stern essay that the party's firewall against the far-right AfD should be reconsidered to allow resolutions that may pass with AfD votes. The proposal revives a sensitive debate after a non-binding migration motion passed with AfD support in January, followed by the defeat of a stricter bill days later amid protests. The union continues to wrestle with how to oppose the AfD while advancing its migration agenda.
Is it still allowed to wrap fish in a newspaper, or will everything be poisoned?
Merz has said this so often but nothing changes. He wants to copy the AfD but on the cheap and hopes to get voters back.
The AfD will soon take over anyway, because you can't go against the majority opinion forever without a civil war.
Why shouldn't the AfD be a normal party, dear Bill? Do they decide that? No, the voters decide that.
A charlatan is someone who wants to make people believe that he has not only contributed to the cityscape, but that he ensures that it stays that way. The AfD doesn't need any more partners until the next election. Germany votes blue because we need precisely this change in our country.
The second election chancellor needs the support of the left. This limits his ability to act somewhat.
Even the inscription alone is sick. Power strategy. Here it's not about the citizens or the good for Germany but about power, not matched. The money.
Please take over the AfD, nothing more will come from the cartel parties.
Gaza Health Ministry reports evidence of mistreatment in returned remains. Gaza's health ministry said it received 120 bodies from Israel over 4 days in Khan Yunis, with initial examinations noting bound limbs, strangulation marks, and close-range gunshot wounds. The remains arrived numbered rather than named, forcing families to search for missing relatives amid limited morgue capacity and severe shortages of forensic staff and equipment. Officials warned that some bodies may need to be buried without identification due to decomposition and the lack of functioning laboratories. Medical teams described patterns consistent with torture and possible field executions, claims that international human rights groups say require independent investigation. The Palestinian Civil Defense estimates roughly 9,000 people remain missing since the war began, complicating efforts to match remains with families through visual cues alone. Aid agencies have urged unfettered access for forensic specialists and monitoring bodies, arguing that transparent procedures are essential to establish cause of death, preserve evidence, and provide families with answers in a health system strained by months of conflict.
It is martyrdom, not the death, of the Chief of Staff. May God have mercy on him and grant his family and relatives patience and solace. May the eyes of cowards never sleep.
May God make you among those who are loved, people of patience and perseverance. May He bless and reward you greatly.
They will be judged in this world before the hereafter. God's promise.
He was martyred and offered his pure soul on the path to Jerusalem. Peace be upon him.
They fought and supported with their wealth and strength, truly noble Arabs, true brothers, true men, true supporters.
Those who have committed injustice will soon know what fate awaits them.
The day will come when we reclaim our rights.
Blessed Friday to you, people of Gaza, patient, steadfast people. May God give you joy and happiness. Lord, Lord, Lord.
We ask God Almighty to grant His family, relatives, lovers, and the country patience and solace.
God has not wronged hell in the least, nor has he created evil without purpose.
Gaza bakeries resume production. Hamas returns captive remains amid aid shortfalls. Bakeries in Gaza have resumed bread production with support from the UN World Food Programme, now producing up to 300,000 loaves of pita bread daily. Although deliveries have slightly increased since the latest truce, humanitarian agencies warn that aid remains far below what is needed to meet Gaza's severe food crisis. The WFP estimates that 100 to 150 trucks must enter Gaza each day to stabilize supplies, while Israel currently limits the number of humanitarian aid trucks to around 300 per day, half the volume previously agreed upon under UN coordination. Separately, Hamas has returned additional remains of Israeli captives, bringing the total number repatriated to at least 12 of the 28 declared dead. Hamas says it requires specialized equipment to locate further bodies buried under rubble, a difficulty confirmed by aid negotiators and Israeli officials. Israel maintains that no further phases of the Gaza peace accord will proceed until all remains are returned, raising concerns that renewed conflict could follow.
Palestine babies, I prayed for you all for 2 years. Now enjoy your freedom.
Bodies. Israel killed their own people. What about the Palestinians who died under the rubbles?
Great to see the children happy again.
Such a relief and happiness to see these little innocent ones eating.
I am so happy for them. Finally they can eat and sleep well. May Allah SWT protect them.
I bet Israel will use this and other impossible tasks as a way to back out. They do have a record of reneging on all their previous ceasefires with other countries. I don't believe they will hold true to any ceasefire ever based on recent history.
600 trucks must be let, not 300.
Long live Palestine.
So they want to go kill more innocent people to get back a few dead bodies. Unreal.